Right then, Merry Christmas to everyone, of course, here from Abu Dhabi, as you can tell by my different surroundings. And I've got a big video for you on Christmas. I've got boxing fight of 2024. I'm going to be giving my top 10 and yes, going through them. This is going to be interesting because I'm not going to lie, I probably missed out a few if I'm being honest, because there's been so many great fights this year, to be fair. So it's been difficult. I've been sat here for God knows how long trying to figure out what my top 10 are. But these are the ones that I've come up with in order as well. So here we go. Number 10, I have got Nick Ball versus Raymond Ford. I thought this was a really good fight, to be fair, and it was also good to see Nick Ball get his moment as well after getting robbed against Ray Vargas a few months earlier than this. But yeah, I think this was good. Raymond Ford, a very good technical boxer, versus Nick Ball, who just went right after him from the off and just didn't stop. But Raymond Ford had good moments in this fight. Nick Ball was very good, and Nick Ball's always in entertaining fights, giving it to his opponents and really making his opponent work. But Raymond Ford was able to, make Nick Ball think a lot at times as well, which made it interesting. But yeah, I was really intrigued throughout this fight. Had me on the edge of my seat. I really enjoyed it, and it was good to see Nick Ball get his moments as well, in my opinion. But yeah, in my opinion, this is number 10 for fights of the year. Okay, next up in number 9, I've got Caleb Plant versus Trevor Mumbi. I think that this does deserve a mention. I was considering whether or not to put it in, but I do think it does go in. I think overall, Trevor Mumbi was in front of this fight, even knocked down Plant at a point as well. And was going after him, landing massive shots on him throughout the fight. But eventually, Caleb Plant made a big comeback and really getting his career back on track with a win, which is what he needed to do at the end of the day. So I think this one's definitely got to be in there, because I think, there was a lot of tension throughout this fight of wondering what would happen. It's one that had you on the edge of your seats, whether thinking or not, was Caleb Plant going to get back into it? And eventually he was able to. So it was a good comeback, but also Trevor Mumbi stock rose in this fight as well. So I think this was a good fight. Caleb Plant ended up getting the win, and yeah, it was just dramatic throughout. There wasn't really one boring round in this fight, if I'm being completely honest. It was a really good, intriguing fight. So yeah, that goes at number 9, in my opinion. Number 8, I've gone with Francisco Estrada versus Bam Rodriguez. I think that this has got to go in there. It was a very good fight. Both guys going down. Bam mostly dominated it, but again, though, there was always a chance that Estrada was coming back into it, and he was. Estrada was able to land good shots on Bam. I thought Bam won the majority of the rounds in this fight, but Estrada made rounds close, and he was hurting Bam quite a lot in this fight as well. It was a real challenge. I think it definitely has to be in the top 10, in my opinion, with, I think it was a good win for Bam Rodriguez, but Estrada also looked good in it as well. And again, there wasn't really one boring round. I think the styles of both guys matched really nicely. And I do think coming into the fight, the winner of Bam Rodriguez was probably obvious thinking about it. But Estrada was able to do his thing and really be able to get some good work going on Bam Rodriguez in this fight. So I think this has got to be in the top 10. Good ring from Bam Rodriguez as well. But yeah, top 10 in my opinion, Estrada versus Bam Rodriguez. Next up in number 7, I've gone with Nathan Heene versus Brad Pauls 1. This, of course, ended as in a draw, and I believe you probably could have scored this fight either way. You had Heene trying to keep Brad Pauls at range, which he was able to do at times. But at times, Brad Pauls was able to get on the inside, land some big shots on him, and eventually, but it was level. The judges scored it a draw, and I don't really think you can complain about that result whatsoever. I think both guys probably deserve something out of that first fight. So, there's not really any complaining about that result. And, both guys' styles gelled nicely. Both guys were able to get their own game going. Heene was all right at being able to frustrate Brad Pauls earlier on in the fight, but as the fight went on, Brad Pauls, kind of had Nathan Heene at times, and almost, I think it was in the 8th round or something, almost was able to get him out of there. But again, Heene was able to come back, hurt Pauls a bit as well. It was a good, intriguing fight, in my opinion, again. And it's one that, you couldn't keep your eyes off after each round. You kept on wondering what was going to be happening in the next, because it was just a real good back and forth fight. So yeah, it was an exciting one. So I think that's definitely got to get a mention, along with these other, bigger fights as well. I think this has got to get a mention. And then next up as well, I've gone with Echo Esman versus Owen Cooper. This one I was actually at this fight, and it was a real proper dramatic fight. I mean, at times you had Owen Cooper up. Both guys went down quite a few times as well. At points you had Owen Cooper up, Echo Esman was up, and it was really, interesting late on. Obviously, Owen Cooper seemed to drop Echo Esman quite heavily in the 9th round. Then in the 10th round, Echo Esman scored a really scary knockout over Owen Cooper in the last round. But yeah, it was a real intriguing fight. Both guys going down, both guys getting really hurt, both guys getting stunned. So again, obviously, this, wasn't a massive name fight. Neither guys are massive names, but I do think that this fight was definitely one of the fights of the year, and it's definitely going to go under the radar a lot in a lot of people's top 10 fights of the year, 100%. But I believe that this one has to get a mention. It was a real proper dramatic fight, with a lot of emotions playing in it. So yeah, good win from Echo Esman in the end, in real good fashion as well. And that could be one of the knockouts of the year as well. So yeah, fantastic fight, this one. Okay, next up, I've gone with Serhiy Boryshuk versus Virgil Ortiz Jr. Again, I think this one's got to be in there. Boryshuk dropping Virgil Ortiz twice in this fight. Virgil Ortiz being able to get his own on Boryshuk. But in this fight, I mean, Boryshuk was just going all out. Boryshuk was, literally every shot that Serhiy Boryshuk threw was with proper intention. And as well as Virgil Ortiz, we all know the power that Virgil Ortiz holds. But again, I think, people before going into this fight underestimated the power of Boryshuk, and from his record as well, it's like 24 knockouts at 24 wins. Boryshuk's got big power as well. It was 2 big power punches who also set up their work nicely as well. Boryshuk arguably won the fight, but the decision was given to Virgil Ortiz. Either way, though, it was a good fight, and yeah, in the top 5. Okay, next up, I'm gonna go with Inoue versus Neri. People might disagree with me putting... Oh, wait, no, sorry. 4. I messed that up. This one's 4. When you're making these videos and you're trying to decide, something's always going to mess up. But yeah, I've gone with Inoue versus Neri at number 4. I think... I mean, people might disagree with me putting it above Boryshuk versus Ortiz, but I think Neri dropping Inoue brought a lot of drama into this fight. Like, it's more shocking than, Boryshuk dropping Ortiz. Like, it was shocking seeing Inoue get dropped by Neri. No one was really giving Neri a chance. Even though Inoue probably won most of the rounds here, Neri was able to get some good success off on Inoue, but Inoue eventually stuck to his game. All of the rounds, again, in this fight were very entertaining, in my opinion. But obviously, going into the fight, we were thinking, oh, it's an obvious winner. And we probably, I knew that Inoue was going to come back from getting knocked down anyway to win. But either way, Neri really gave it his all for that and was getting some good success. But eventually, Inoue was able to land some big shots on Neri, really coming back into the fight. And I thought it was entertaining. It's one that had you on the edge of your seats, thinking, I mean, part of you was thinking, could Neri do it again? It was a good fight, in my opinion. Inoue obviously scored the knockout in the end, but I think this was a very fun fight and quite an underrated fight overall as well. So I'm putting this one at number 4. Next up in number 3, I've gone with Tyson Fury versus Alexander Usyk 1. I thought personally Alexander Usyk ended up winning the first fight against Fury fairly wide. And I think as well, he won the second. I think Usyk also won the second one, 116 to 112, no complaints with the scorecards. But we're talking about, obviously, this one now, the first fight. I think Alexander Usyk won wide in the end, but mid-rounds, Tyson Fury was getting success. Again, it's a fight you couldn't take your eyes off. Both guys really skilled, showing good skillfulness throughout. Both guys good technical boxers up at heavyweight as well, and gave us a good war no matter what. So this was an intriguing fight, 100%. And I'm really glad Usyk got the win in it. Of course, so that makes it even better for me. But yeah, I think it was better than the second fight. I do. I think it was better than the second fight overall. Second fight, I feel like Usyk was a clear winner in a close fight. But this one, Usyk was a wide winner. But I feel like, both guys were able to get better success on each other than they were in that second fight in this first fight. So I think this has got to be number 3, in my opinion. Definitely. Next up in number 2, I've gone with Mario Barrios versus Abel Ramos. And loads of people watching this one as well, because obviously this was on that bloody Jake Paul, Mike Tyson card, which was one of the worst fights of the year. But I feel like this one was one of the fights of the year, and I'm sticking at number 2. And again, I feel like this might be a fight that goes under the radar. I feel like it was a very good fight. It was a draw in the end, and rightly so, I believe, as well. Yeah, both guys were able to get their styles going on each other really nicely. Styles matched very well. Both guys absolute warriors in there as well. Both guys took some absolutely huge shots and both guys were getting some great success. So I think this has got to be at number 2. It's got to be mentioned 100% in my opinion. So yeah, there we go. Number 2, Mario Barrios versus Abel Ramos. And I was expecting it to be probably one-sided to Barrios, but in the end, Ramos came into it and was good and gave a real good account of himself. So yeah, good fight. That's number 2. And number 1, I put Artur versus Demitri Bivel. I just feel like skill-wise, this is, even though I disagree with the result, I feel like Bivel won the fight. But skill-wise, it was just a great skill-for-skill fight. Berto with the power, but Bivel with his good, solid combinations that he's putting together and how smart Bivel is. Again, it's one you couldn't take your eyes off. You couldn't, have a look on your phone after each round. Like, you couldn't miss a second of this fight because you just knew it was always going to be an interesting fight to score. And I feel like, real boxing purists really appreciate this kind of fight, in my opinion, with what it was. So in my opinion, it's got to be number 1. There was again, just so much going on in this fight, in my opinion. And it was just a real good non-stop, neither guy really stopped for a break between rounds at all. It was just, full on stuff, in my opinion. So I feel like it was a great fight. And in my opinion, I'm saying that this fight was fight of the year. That is what I'm saying. People might disagree, but I feel like it was a great technical fight as well. But also it was very, very, very exciting throughout the fight. So yeah, this is number 1. Anyway, they are all my top 10 boxing fights of the year. Thank you all for watching. Merry Christmas. Speak to you all in a bit.